Hello, everybody. You are my mainstayers of the Born Rich Mastery group here. Woo! We are studying chapter 4 today. Let go and let God. This is one of the best chapters in the whole entire book because, Bob even says it. Read this chapter 100 times if you have to until you completely absorb what it's trying to tell you. So we're going to try and do it justice today. And did you guys know it's Bob's birthday today?
I saw,
February 3rd, it's Bob's birthday.
I
So
saw that.
I know he's such a good guy. So thank you, Bob, for everything that you've done for me, for sure, because I wouldn't be here without Bob. I wouldn't know any of you without Bob. I would be in a gym somewhere.
I have to
Still.
say the same thing. I wouldn't know any of you without Bob, without Mary. I
Yeah.
really don't. I mean, seriously, when you think about the odds.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful thing that we get to celebrate Bob's birthday on a Tuesday in our mastermind, going through his book and the best chapter in the book, Let Go and Let God.
Arguably. We'll say arguably the best chapter.
Arguably, yeah.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. We'll do the mastermind principles. Let's see. Sarah, do you want to start us off?
I will. Mastermind principles. I begin every mastermind meeting by reading these mastermind principles. I release. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. Pat.
I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. Sarah.
Go again, Sarah.
I understand. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I'm open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. Ryan.
I decide to release my desire totally and trust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. Mary,
I forgive. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move into the future with a clean slate. Pat.
I ask. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires. And I hear my mastermind partner supporting me in my fulfillment. Ryan.
mhm, I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. Now, I think it's appropriate that Sarah would be the bookend. Sarah, take it away.
Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to God and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy.
Yeehaw. Thank you, everybody. All right. I'm going to read, I put my glasses on. I'm going to read the poem at the beginning of this chapter called The Promised Land. It says, "No more shall I look to the far skies for my Father's loving aid, since here upon earth his treasure lies, and here is his kingdom laid. No more through the midst of things unknown I'll search for the promised land, for time is the footstool of his throne, and I am within his hand. The wealth that is more than finest gold is here, if I shall but ask, and wisdom unguessed and power untold are here for every task. The gates of heaven are before my eyes, their key is within my hand. No more shall I look to the far skies, for here is the promised land." Alva Romanes. What does that poem mean to us in the context of this particular chapter? What do you think? Pat wants to say something.
Treasure what we have here. Today is a gift. And I think as long as we enjoy what he's given us now, he always gives us more. And we know that someday we'll be with him, but to completely trust him, I
Do
think
you
is,
think someday we'll be with him or we're with him already?
well, that's true too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He reaches down and stirs our life every once in a while.
Stir it up.
Yep.
Does anybody else have thoughts on the poem? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to keep talking. Oh, Ryan, did you want to say something?
Well, I mean, this chapter has really been an epiphany for me. Every time we go through it, I always think of something different, and this poem hit me a little bit different. It landed in a different way. Um, because I feel like, you know, what it who the promised land. If I want the promised land, I've got to let go. I've got to let go of thoughts that no longer serve me.
Mhm.
And I've got to just trust, and I just have to have faith. And I watch Charles Stanley on Sunday mornings early. Um, I've I've known him. I've never met him in person, but I've known of his ministries, In Touch Ministries for, oh man, this is gonna date me, since the 80s when I first became a baby Christian. So like I say a baby Christian. When I first decided to go on my own journey in my own faith, he was there, and I like to check in from time to time, and I feel that every time I watch him now, I feel more in tune with what Bob is conveying in this chapter. Because that is Charles Stanley. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's really uncanny because back when I was young, when I was in my 20s, I just realized, I was green. I didn't know how to connect all the dots. But now I'm starting to see how much more rich, and how many more things are available to me personally, well, to us collectively, that we would never have fathomed just in our own finite understanding of who God is. And it's expanded. I would say, um, it's my faith is a quantum leap. I've taken a quantum leap in my faith because of works like this chapter, and also others who are on the same path, like Mary and you all and everyone else watching this recording, because all of us are here for a reason. We're not here by accident. It's
Hmm.
ordained. It's divine.
Yeah. Well, um, he says something wonderful is happening, right? And we have to decide to believe that our life is something wonderful, that it's unfolding as we go. And the more that we give over our trust in the process, then we will be okay. When we try and hold it tight and we try and maneuver it and we try to force it is when things get sticky. So Raymond Hollowell, who wrote Working with the Law, talks about the word Lord can be replaced with the word law. It's the same thing. God works through the laws, right? So Bob always says the law is God's uh, modus operandi, right? He says that that is the way that's the way it works. That's the way the world works. That's the way this power works. So we have these laws that we can trust in. And they're not fickle. They don't change with the weather. They're not going to say, this is what I mean today, but not tomorrow. Oh, we'll see. We'll see if this is how it works. We'll see. No, we know there's a law of attraction. What we think we get. What we give, we get. The law of cause and effect. There are the idea of that so within as within so without, right? The law of principle of correspondence. We have this all of these laws to be able, and principles to be able to trust in, just like gravity. And so God isn't going to, or the Lord or the law isn't going to change. The thing that changes is us. It's our minds, it's our thoughts, it's our worries, it's our trust, it's our our doubts, it's our faith. That's what determines the end, right? So he says, how many times have you been faced with what appeared to be an insurmountable problem, and you silently wished you could turn it over to somebody else for a solution? Or have you ever sat daydreaming, building magnificent images on the screen of your mind, wishing you had a certain sum of money, wanting to take a trip to some exotic place, or possibly hoping to be able to purchase the automobile you have always wanted? Like Sophie. Yay, Sophie. Wouldn't it be fantastic if there was some magic formula that would give us the things we want and permit us to live the way we choose? Well, there is, and it has been around since time began. Therefore, you can have all the things you want, all of them, and you will have them if you will only make the ideas in this book a part of your way of thinking, a part of your way of life. And then he says, read this 100 times if you have to. If you until you feel deep inside that you really comprehend the idea being expressed. For if you fail to grasp the idea presented to you in this chapter, the rest of the book will be of little value to you. So when we have these big, beautiful dreams, and yesterday in the Economy Creators Challenge, we talked about desire and we figured out what we really wanted, and we're writing lists and we're deciding what area of my life do I really want to focus on right now, and what do I really want, right? Earl Nightingale said something really important that kind of knocked me, well, straight, I guess, because he said, it doesn't matter what you want. And I was like, oh, it doesn't matter what I want. I can want anything. He says, it doesn't matter what you want. You just have to follow these laws and you'll get it. It's like, oh. So there's no conditions on, is this a good enough desire? Is this worthy of I don't know, somebody else's opinion? Is God going to be okay with me wanting this? Yes. The answer is yes. It's going to be good because we can't have a desire that wasn't from inside. If it's an authentic desire, if it's something that we feel like we really, really want, then it's true and it's good and we can go for it and we can have it. So, one of the things that we have to remember is that if we can desire it, we also can have it. And it's good. You know, sometimes we get caught up in, should I want that? Should I want that? Yes. If you want it, then yes. Yes. Right? Should I want another horse? Always. Always want another horse. He says, you will spend your years wanting to share your new understanding with everyone and anyone who is willing to take the time to listen and learn. When we understand all of this, we want to just shout it from the rooftops and say, hey, your life can be so good, right? And then say, here, read this chapter 100 times if you have to and figure it out, figure it out and start applying it. But here's the thing, we have to start applying it. Faith is not for the faint-hearted. Faith is not for when just stuff is going well. It's easy when it's going well. Faith is the thing that gets us through when stuff is hard. When we have to draw on something that's deeper, that's bigger than our humanness, right? So we all have that spirit inside of us helping us, attracting for us. We just have to let go and let it happen. Um, I, w I was watching Star Wars we're going in order from the very beginning all the way to the end. And um, over the weekend, we watched Rogue One because we finished Andor and we went right to Rogue One, and it was so good. So we were watching Rogue One, and there is a character in there who's strong with the Force, and he says, "The Force is with me, and I am with the Force. The Force is with me, and I am with the Force." And I was thinking, and he was blind, and he could fight and do all sorts of stuff. And I was thinking, you know what? There's something to that mantra. And I thought, huh, the Spirit is with me and I am with the Spirit, or the Spirit, I am one with Spirit and Spirit is one with me, right? I am one with Spirit and Spirit is one with me. And the more I started repeating that to myself, the more that I got into the spirit of whatever it is that I was doing, whether it was brushing my teeth or it was making a salad, it didn't matter, riding the horse. It didn't matter what I was doing. I reminded myself that we're connected and we're working together. And I encourage you to find some sort of mantra like that that you can repeat to yourself. I am one with the Spirit, and the Spirit is one with me. I am one with Spirit, and Spirit is one with me. And if you find yourself in your mind just going places, bring it back to your mantra. Bring it back to that. Because remember, if we are not thinking on a conscious level, then our subconscious mind is wide open for anything and everything that comes our way. And we're just absorbing it and letting crud in. So use something like that as one, a reminder that, oh, the Spirit's with me always. I can do this. Spirit's with me. I'm not doing the work. Spirit's doing the work, right? And the more that we remind ourselves of that and repeat it, even when, I'm going through laundry and doing my thing, thinking, oh, that's so good. And I always do it right. You know why? Because Spirit's with me and I am one with Spirit. Spirit is one with me and I am one with Spirit. And I was just experimenting with that and I like it. So, what is something that you would like to remind yourself of when it comes to something along those lines or of this chapter? Something that you think would, if you just repeated to yourself and filled in the gaps of where you weren't thinking, the driving in the car, whatever it is, that you could lean on and that would serve as a reminder for you. Does anybody have any thoughts? Or does somebody already do that? Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I mean, I ever since was introduced to this book and also more specifically this chapter, I quite often use as my mantra faith is seeing the invisible and believing in the incredible. And it gets me into that really super high, I say super high spiritual place, but it's in the higher frequency than, oh, it is what it is. And if it, and then it is what it is, and those kinds of things, the reality and all that. So, and as you were talking, because I have this go-to song that I sing. It's called I Release. And the lyrics are I release and I let go. I let spirit guide my life. And my heart is open wide because I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit because I'm only here for God. That always centers me. And I actually was with a friend over the weekend on Saturday, and we were conspiring because we want to do, and we've got a third person that we want to invite to join us. And we're wanting to enlighten our church congregation. And they're not always really accepting of something a little non-traditional, if you know what I mean. But that's just who I am. That's always my presence in that particular space. And just to get the idea out there that, God is calling us. God is telling us that God Almighty, Spirit Almighty, is more than this. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, I am more than this. I, Source, I'm more than this. And the source is in me. And that's why, this whole letting go and letting God is because that's the thing. And it was funny because I'm going to bring up Dr. Charles Stanley because Sunday morning, here he comes on at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I turn on the TV. I like to listen to him. And if I'm doing other things in the kitchen or whatever, getting the dog food and all that set. But he was talking specifically about following God in you. And that blew things up for me because it took me back to when I was a kid and I was thinking God is something esoterical. Spirit is something esoterical. It's that it's not connected with me. It's just something I, you know, I worship. You know, I, I pray to. Nothing has been more clear to me now that God is here than it has been I mean, ever since I got involved with this community and ever since I've gotten involved in this work in this book, I've really had that has been a cornerstone in my spiritual life, and I'm happy to shout it to the rooftops and say, "Hey, we know the secret. There's a secret. We know we got the secret. Like go and
Mhm.
let God. I release and I let go. Let spirit guide my life."
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I grew up as well, you all know how I grew up. Vatican West, as my friend called it. I grew up in Vatican West. And there was God was always outside. God was always outside. And we just hoped that as long as we did all right, we hoped that he still did something for us. You know what I mean? It was kind of interesting the way that it was presented. And I was always groveling for sure. But when I came into this material and understood that I'm I'm a branch off of a tree, right? God is this tree. I'm the vine, you are the branches. It's written everywhere, right? All this information is written everywhere in the Bible, but at the same time, different denominations make it sound different ways. And so I thought that God was out there. But when I understood that I am an individual expression of God and I have those qualities and I can create the life that I want through my imagination and my action, I was like, oh, wow, I can have what I want. It wasn't just a capricious accident that I imagined that I wanted my scholarship to the University of Arizona and I got it, right? That wasn't a happy accident. That was me doing the mental work and it showing up in my life, right? And if we look back at our lives, we can see those when I really wanted something and I focused on it and I worked towards it every single day in faith that it was going to happen. Guess what? It happened. When doubt and worry and fear showed up, it slowed down. I was injured. I fell off beam 5 times. I didn't make it to nationals. All these sort of different things that showed up along the way. But I had faith that it was going to work in the end. And I just kept going. I just kept going. And so we can look back at our lives and notice that that's what happens. So why not now? If you have a big, hairy goal, go after it with all your heart and just say, oh, thank you for helping me because this is going to be a fun ride. I don't know exactly how, but I know where I'm going to land, right? Price Pritchett says that. He says, you don't care what it looks like in the middle of a quantum leap, you just know where you're going to land, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Pat, did you want to add something about your mantra?
I was just going to say that if it wasn't for my faith, I don't think I'd be alive today because it would have been too easy to give up.
Mm-hmm.
As far as turning it over to God, I had a hard lesson to learn that. my daughter had fallen in love with this guy from Syria, and he got noticed to get out because he'd come in illegally. Well, they thought if they got married, he could stay in the States. Well, if they'd done that before he got the notice, that would have worked. But after he'd gotten the notice to deport, it didn't. So, needless to say, they shipped him out. I got a postcard from her that says, "I'm in Syria. No goodbye, no nothing." And I talked to my mom and I said, I'm just not scared. I just, I don't feel any worry within me at all. And my mom says, that's when you really, truly have turned it over to God. You have no worry. Everything's going to work out just the way it's supposed to. I did call her and she's blonde. I said, dye your hair, cover your head, and get home. But for me, it was a wonderful lesson to see how easy it was. I thought it would be a hard thing to do. But once you get to knowing how to do it, it's easy. When I go to bed at night and I say, please just guide me, help me, because we are helpless without him. I've never been without my faith. I don't see how people can go through life without their faith.
Well, it's very hard. And when we get to that point where we can say thank you for your guidance and thank you for your, for my ability to trust in you and thank you for um, putting the path in front of me and answering all my questions and giving me all the solutions. When we can start with thank you,
Mm-hmm.
then we know that that's faith. Wallace D. Wattles talks about that. He says gratitude is when we get on that same level as the creator, is when we're just like, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the stuff that I had to go through to get here. Thank you for all the great things that I have in front of me. Thank you for all the wonderful things that are coming my way. And the more that we can express gratitude, the closer we are to that creative power. And we can know the one of the things that can bolster faith is understanding that it works through law. The creative principle is the same whether we're trying to make a sandwich or we're trying to make $1 million. It's the same thing. We just make it harder when it's $1 million. We just think that it has to be harder to make $1 million in a sandwich. But it's the same laws. It's the same principle. The only thing that's difficult for us is to get to that higher frequency. And we'll talk about that more in chapter 6 when we do the law of vibration and attraction. But that's really what it comes down to. And so gratitude at this point in time is going to help us in our faith and to allow us to let go and let God and say, okay, I know it's going to work out. I get in the car and I know that I'm going to safely travel wherever it is that I'm going. I don't worry about anything. I'm just like, thank you. You know. Go ahead, Ryan.
I just want to I just want to say, Pat, thank you for sharing that.
Oh.
My own mother introduced me to Dr. Robert Schuller. Um, I don't want to go into too many details, but I had a very dysfunctional family. My dad was an alcoholic. My mother enabled him, and it was very rocky and tumultuous. And she introduced me to Dr. Robert Schuller because she believed that, and that the statement that's in the chapter that Bob points out is tough times never last, but tough people do. My mom was that tough person. She endured that. She stayed married to my father. I say that man, that my father. That all I think about are all the good qualities. All of the bad stuff is wipe the slate clean. Really, seriously. But every now and then I remember, those things that you have to just really hold on tight to because you never know what you're going to be going through. And it's a testament to faith when you see someone trying to defend you as a kid and having a hard time defending themselves, um, stand up in their own faith and realizing that they can focus their energy in a different direction and get through the experience and be fine. And so by the time I was 19, they were divorced. Mom went on to live her own life. She never remarried. And dad went on to his. His didn't last as long as my mother's. Um, but I know that the best of their DNA is in me.
Yep. Ah.
Okay.
Um, Sophie says everything is working out perfectly. Yeah. Yeah. And when we think that, and we that's when we start focusing on what does perfect look like? Oh, thank you, 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 thank you. And
One
then
little,
she, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say one little quick thing that my husband, John, my late husband, if we were driving in a parking lot or something, and we're looking for a parking place, and there happened to be one opened up right by the front of the door, and he'd say, "See there, we had favor." It happened so many times; it was unreal.
Yeah, expectation. We'll talk about that next week. We just say, I expect it, right?
Patty's
Yeah,
not
and
here to attest to that, but Patty has the same sentiment.
yep, Patty does. Yep, you're right. You're right. And Sophie's daughter and my daughter both say the same thing. Sophie says, what Naomi wants, Naomi gets. And she's usually right. Lola says the same thing. Whatever Lola wants, right? Lola gets. But I asked Lola one time, I said, how do you know that that's what you're getting? She goes, because I want it. And I go, to have the faith of a child,
Mhm.
right? Because I want it. All I have to do is want it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And then mom steps in and gets it. But I'm not always the one that gets it for her. That's the cool thing about it. As I'm not the one that always delivers on that. And I really make it a point not to be. After we got Ben, for instance, um, she was talking to me. I was telling her, I said, okay, let's say he got a full, clean bill of health from the vet saying he's 24 years old, but she said he could start jumping and stuff. And so we're like, ooh, fun. And because he's been taken care of so well. And I told Lola, I said, well, you could jump Ben. And she said, no, I want a warm blood jumper. And I said, did you know that that's what Ben is? That's his breed, and he's a jumper. And she goes, oh. I've been manifesting that in the last few weeks. She was thinking about her next horse. She wanted a warm blood jumper. And I go, did you know that that's what Ben is? She's like, oh. So it works, you guys. It works. She had no idea that that's what he was, and that's what he is. And he got a clean bill of health, and he's able to jump. So I think that that was pretty cool. The key is that we have to be pretty specific about what it is that we want because Sandy Gallagher talks about the fact that she wanted a beach house in Malibu. And she had one, she got one, she bought one. And there was a lot of stuff that she didn't like about it, right? It was so close to the beach that the water splashed up and ruined her windows all the time and did all these all these things. And she was like, I want a different beach house in Malibu. But that's the thing. If we are not specific, we get what it is that we're asking for. So, for instance, Lola probably didn't want a 24-year-old horse. She probably wanted a young spring chicken, but she got a 24-year-old one. So, we have to be very specific as to what we want, right? Not just more money, because more money could be $1 more. We want $100,000 this month or whatever it is that we want, right? So we have to be very specific. So that was kind of a segue, but um, he says that this is on page 77. He's talking about faith. And Ryan talked about Clarence Smithison, but here's Bob's rendition of what Clarence Smithison says about faith. He says, if you can show me a person who achieves great things, I can show you a person who has great faith in his God-given ability to achieve what he images. In fact, there is absolutely no question in my mind that faith has always been the miracle worker throughout history. It is the connecting link between God and you. and therefore it is your most valuable non-physical possession. In truth, it is the cornerstone to everything you will ever build or achieve during the course of your entire lifetime. Comparatively few people today realize just how much faith in oneself, that part of oneself which is spiritual, perfect, has to do with achievement, because the great majority of people never seem to conceive of faith as being a genuine creative force. So when we can think about it in the way that Wallace D. Wattles describes it in The Science of Getting Rich. He says that desire is the unexpressed possibility within seeking expression without, through us. So spirit within us, the non-physical part of us, needs the physical part of us to manifest the thing that it wants to experience in this life. So what the ingenious thing is that, like I said, God is that tree trunk, right? And we have all these we're all these branches. So we're individual expressions. And each one of us is completely unique. So God, the creator, the infinite intelligence, gets to experience life through infinite ways, through infinite perspectives, through infinite experiences. Isn't that just ingenious? When I realized that, I was like, well, no wonder this is so cool because it just makes so much sense. And so if you want something and you have this desire within you, honor it and go, okay, this is next. What's next? What do I do next? What's my next step? And trust that that is meant for you. So many times we want something so bad and we're like, and it's not working and we're trying really hard and we say, well, maybe it's not meant for me. It is meant for you. You just have to let go and let God. Let God do the work, right? So, what are your thoughts as we finish up this chapter? What are we going to move forward? How are we going to move forward after reading this? What are you going to do differently or more of? Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, both and I'm going to speak to myself better.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, it's not every time, but even when quite frankly, I haven't read the chapter for this particular day. I'm going by my memory. And as I was thinking about this meeting today, our mastermind, I was thinking of all the things that impressed upon me. And I realized I have been neglecting speaking to myself in a positive way, in a way that uplifts me in a very profound way, because there after Robert Schuller's quote is um, something that Bob encourages us to impress upon our mind, and that is to reinforce that we are God's highest creation in so many words. And I've been kind of been admonishing myself lately for different reasons, different circumstances and stuff that have come up, and I was like, yeah, I am better than that. And I am, God did not create me to fail by any stretch. That is not an option. Those kinds of things came up. And so for me, I'm taking that particular passage that he has later in the book, it's towards the end of the book, and I'm reinventing it into my own. And that's something I'm going to speak to myself. I'm going to create something new because I recite the self confidence formula every day, and that's good. It takes me about 2 minutes, and I get through it, and I'm like really feeling it. But I need something a little more personal. I think this is a really good idea, at least for me right now, and probably always. Just come up with something similar to what he has in there. It's it's what I need.
Yeah, give yourself a little talking to, huh? Good. I like it. Anybody else want to share? What are you going to move forward with? Doing something more of something or something different? No? I'm going to keep talking, saying my mantra. Go ahead,
Good.
Sharon.
No, I just have to remember and to be quicker to getting back to that um, energy to that thought, the positive one, you know. And sometimes I do go to my default, to the worst case scenario, and then I feel free to really go all in on the positive one, but that sometimes still happens to me. I just have to go there. I
Mhm.
have to think, okay. And you know what? What I've realized is I'm not going to die, which would be like the worst case scenario, right? And
True.
so after that, everything is okay.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and to your point about the default, Bob talks about this, Napoleon Hill talks about this, all these teachers talk about this. If we don't purposely put in a positive default, our natural tendency will be to
Is
be negative.
negative.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yep. So
yeah.
we need
I
to,
read that today
yeah,
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, when I was teaching sewing to these girls, young teenage girls, it was so much fun. I love working with the young people. But one of the signs, I put different signs up around the room, but one of them, it says, it's not brain surgery. And we look at it like that, you think, so you made a mistake. Big deal. It's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die from it. But it took the pressure off of them. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes if we look at difficulties that we come up in life, it's not brain surgery.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's so good. You know, Lola had an art teacher one time. Yeah, she's homeschooled, but she had an art teacher because, hi, I am not that person. So her art teacher used to say, there are no mistakes in art. No mistakes in art. None. None whatsoever. And that kid is the most inventive kid in the entire universe, in my opinion. So here she uses her imagination like none other. And I think it's because of Claudia.
I
So
wish
there.
I had Claudia because I got an F in art in junior high.
I'm sure you did actually better than an F. You just couldn't fit into a box that they were painting you into. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your discussion today. This was a good discussion, a good chapter. Don't forget Born Rich Foundations. There's lots of exercises and things in there for every chapter in there. And if yeah, watch the replays, go back and check all that stuff out.
I'm going
Shout
to
out
miss
to
the
those that
challenge
are
today
in
because
there
I've got
doing it.
another
Oh,
appointment at the same time. I'm sorry,
say
Ryan.
that again, Pat.
I said I'm going to miss the challenge today. I'll have to watch the replay. I have another meeting
Okay.
at the
Maybe
same
we'll
time.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe tomorrow.
Sounds good. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank
Bye bye.
you. Bye. Ryan, what did you say?
Oh, I just wanted to shout out to everybody who's in foundations and they're going on their own journey, whether they show up live or not. Kudos to you. Keep it up. Watch the recordings. Keep in there. We know it. Mary and I see it when you're in there and you're completing a lesson. So keep it up.
Yeah. Woohoo. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.